This episode on The Coach and the Casual, we get into all things BKFC. The fight's coming December 2nd, Salt Lake City. Mike Perry versus Eddie Alvarez. Ben Rothwell versus Todd Duffy. Us, The Coach and the Casual, are going to be there backstage. So make sure you're tuning in. We'll be going live. And right now, we're going to break down all things BKFC.
You know, first thing we got to talk about, and I feel like you're doing it on purpose at this point, but these outfits have got to stop.
What outfit?
It's like you're, when you first walked in, the bow tie to the side. I didn't even see the bow tie. What is happening here?
What do you mean? I'm just wearing Coach's tuxedo. We're shooting. I want to look good for the shot.
Would you wear this to a real meet?
Yeah, for sure. Like when I'm coaching wrestling, I'll wear this. My team wears red. I'll be in the corner.
The thing is like Happy Gilmore, where it's like if I caught myself wearing that, I'd have to kick my own ass.
Oh, the thing is no one can kick my ass, so I can wear whatever I want.
You almost got an ass whooping the other day.
By who?
By me.
When?
You pissed me off the other morning. You had me come in early, and you complained about my nails being too long, right?
Oh, my God. You want to talk about this?
This was your fault. Right?
You are the most disrespectful student I've ever had.
The thing is,
he was biting his nails and spitting them on the mat.
Yeah, no.
And
first of all, it wasn't on the mat. It started off that we were on the slab, right?
And I said,
and you said your nails are too long, so I start chewing on them
because you won't clip them. I'm getting mad even thinking about it right now.
And then,
oh my gosh, I thought you were gonna talk about you being a little bitch, and texting me all day, and
then I spit.
Oh, why didn't you answer my call?
Yeah, well, you didn't answer my calls, but then I spit one on the mat by accident. And then you hit me in the face.
Oh, you're lucky you didn't get slapped. I touched you. I just showed you.
No, you hit me until I
showed you. You disrespected
And then what happened after that? You were like, hey.
No, and you fucking spit one on me, too.
But listen, what happened?
You spit one at me, and I hit you.
When I got mad, what happened?
You got mad. And
you said, hey, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to hit you.
No, I didn't. I said, if you do that shit again, I will break your fucking jaw next time. And then you got all sad, and you went into the cage, and you're like, it's time to go. And then we ended up sparring.
No.
But actually, though, I will say.
Controlled rage.
That was the first time you've actually had a real mitt session ever in your life.
Yeah.
If you get pissed off, is the only way you train.
What I've told,
so maybe I'm gonna start assaulting you every time you walk into the gym.
The thing is, I was like, I'm just gonna leave. And I was like, no, F this. I'm just gonna go through this session.
Yeah. After the I'm in episode talking about how you left that shit, and he was like, oh God. Yeah, like, oh shit.
No, I didn't care. The thing is, what I didn't want to say last episode is that I was sizing Iman up, and I'm very confident.
Oh my God, that dude didn't even fit in our chair.
I'd make short work.
We like our chair's broken. We had to go get a new one.
You're such a nice guy though that I let it slide. Mm-hmm. Some of the offenses that he put.
Oh yeah, and then the other one, speaking of BKFC, is Mike Perry. When he almost kicked your ass.
I let Mike Perry slide on 3 or 4 separate.
Yeah. When he looked up and
because he's got a fight coming up. The guy's got.
He looks up at you and he's like, "Do you see Mike Perry though? He's calling out Sean Strickland."
Well, that whole Sean Strickland thing was weird to me. So honestly, this was embarrassing for me. But when you sent me that thing with Ian Gary, I was like, I have no idea who Ian Gary is.
Because a casual? What a casual. Oh, my God. One of the top contenders. Welterweight's kind of interesting because they have so many top contenders right now, but none of them are fighting. Like Ian Gary's 12-0 or 11-0. So I love Ian Gary right now in the welterweight division because there's so much like of these top welterweights that are undefeated or like Renat, the number 15. I don't know how to say his last name, but he's 21-1. Yeah, he's 21-1 right now, and he's fighting, I think, Dos Santos or something in November.
Okay, but how many of those of the 12-0 and the 21-1? How much of those are stat padding? Like, it's been a lot of argument that Khabib stacked his record with a bunch of tomato cans.
Yeah,
when a guy's 21 fights in, there's no chance that he was fighting top tier guys a lot.
Well, dude, you have like Shavkat. That's another one of the welterweights. Shavkat's been fighting top welterweights. He's fighting Stephen Thompson. I think there's like right now a thing that's kind of going on where it's all these old welterweights that everyone knows, so they're kind of keeping them
lending
here.
their name.
Yeah, but now you're going to start seeing these young and up and comers like Ian Gary, Shavkat. And I think the UFC is doing a smart job, is keeping them away from each other, letting them kind of feed off of the old, and
The problem is like this new generation. I mean, Steven Wonder Boy was never this huge raw. I mean, he was a good fighter, but who's the next? I mean, we've got Sugar Sean, but who's the next celebrity status fighter? There's not many coming up.
Yeah.
Colby's on the way out.
And that's the thing. I think Colby's, gonna beat Leon. I think Leon has the confidence right now.
Right, even then, Leon never really got involved in the drama. He got his ass whooped by Masvidal backstage.
Yeah, backstage.
But he never, how many people that are talking shit these days? And to be honest...
Is that the only thing that gets you?
I love it.
Oh, my God.
I love
dude.
the drama. The
and I love,
mid.
the welterweight right now is so exciting. They just got to kind of get these guys active,
But it's not good for the UFC to not have stars. I mean, look at... it's important to be able to cater to the casual fan.
Yeah.
Ronda, all the ones that you propelled the sport. Ronda talked a lot of shit. Connor, Colby, Chael, they propelled the sport, changed the game. And they did it while losing a lot of their fights. I mean, Chael, he lost most of his big fights. Yeah.
And he was just talking crap. So that's what a casual wants to see, is just this shit. Well, and that's kind of an interesting point about the whole PFL buying or merging with Bellator. The difference between them, PFL is trying to build this structure of we have these tournaments, this and that. But as a casual fan, UFC goes for building stars.
Yeah.
And you're going to watch stars. Did you watch the PFL championship the other night?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, and it was $60.
Oof.
Yeah, $60, and I have 5 belts on the line or something like that. It literally is a 4-hour event. I had to just playing on my phone while playing cards with my family because I only wanted to watch the Clay Collard one.
Yeah,
really.
But I mean, do you think you talk about the casual fan and everything, but that's what pays the. First of all, I know for a fact that the hardcore, super interested in fighting fighters, they don't have money anyway. I've met most of them.
They're all watching the fights.
Yeah,
they're all buying the fights.
They're just streaming them.
Yeah,
but the casual fan is the one that you have to cater to. Don't you think that? People talk about getting set up or having the tide turned against you, Dana doing it, but Dana has made more money for these people by putting the right promoting in. That you talk about a promoter, right?
Yeah.
Well, they not just promote the fights, but promote the fighters and make these guys into stars. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, Dana White's the GOAT. If you think about it, he's the GOAT of promoters. No one else can even come close.
I heard something
Dana.
one time there was a guy, who was it? Not Flo Rida, but one of the rappers, he was talking about how he was riding on a train in Germany. He saw that 50 Cent said, yeah, if I see that guy, I'm going to whoop his ass. Yeah. And he went to 50 Cent the next time he was like, hey, why'd you say that? He's like, no, you idiot. If you had just said, no, I'm going to fight him back, we'd be selling millions of songs right now.
Yeah.
So is it frustrating for you as an actual fighter? Seeing how important the actual promote, because the thing is too, you didn't do a crazy amount of shit talk. I mean, you were exciting when you were in there. But it's not like you were a Chael. You never turned heel. You were always the.
I kind of towards the end was turned heel.
Yeah.
But not like a bad heel. I would just be I was just there to fight, and that was kind of my MO.
So how do you feel about guys that are, obviously, it's an open secret that Colby he doesn't actually feel that way, but he was about to be out, and so he cuts that promo about Brazil, you bunch of filthy
for the
animals.
title after losing. He hasn't won a fight in, 4 years
or
something, 3 years?
Made more than most.
Yeah.
How do real fighters feel about that part of the game? Because we talked to Court on our podcast, and he was like, I never really got into it. Well, he would have made a lot more money doing it.
Yeah, and people he probably fought for a title when he was on one of his win streaks.
Yeah.
And so I think I can see it being frustrating for fighters and myself. I don't know, but then I also understand it's a sell. At the end of the day, we're just an entertainment industry, and we're just trying to entertain people, and we're just entertaining you. And a casual fan really doesn't watch the sport so intricate, and they're not really watching this person's really good at the ground game, and it's gonna be interesting if they can exploit their game plan, just like a casual fan watching football is like, go team, you know, and you're just more into your team.
And it's storylines. I mean,
Yeah.
it's basically like WWE, but then a real fight happens at the end. You know what I mean?
And that's actually, I think, the really interesting part about it is because all these other sports you're part of a team, and then all the other fighters or individual sports, like a wrestler, like how you brought WWE, that's their character. So when people see him out, they're like, oh, I love John Cena or whatever, even if I don't like him in the wrestling.
And if I can't see him.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't watch that. So, but either way, I just used him because I've seen him in a movie. That's why I know his name. But like, you don't say like, oh, I hate John Cena because my character I enjoy watching is blah, blah, blah. That's kind of the weird thing about fighting is people actually will be like, I hate Colby, and I sincerely hate him as a human being compared to being like the character Colby's playing.
Yeah, but there's some plausible deniability that maybe they're like, oh, that's really who he is. But obviously wrestling, it's fake. I mean, and when you say fake, it's that, you see that one meme, it's still real to me.
Yeah.
But
what you go through with your bodies, which is true. I mean, they do beat up their bodies.
But, I mean, it's interesting to me why, aside from not wanting, are there still guys today who I was listening to a Rogan podcast. He was actually just on with The Rock, right? And it was awkward as hell. They didn't actually want to be with each other. But they talked about, like, back in the Bruce Lee days, you had one discipline and you only did that. If you went and practiced something else, it was, like, frowned upon. If you were a jiu-jitsu guy, you didn't go do kickboxing. If you were kickboxing, you didn't do different disciplines. But Bruce Lee kind of made it where you could meld all of them and do a bunch of different ones. When you talk about honor in martial arts, is a lot of that kind of gone by the wayside, and now it's more of a sport, more of a discipline. You still call them master and sensei just because that's what it was always done, but it's not that serious anymore. How do you, as a lifelong practitioner of martial arts, view martial arts and the honor behind it?
Well, I think it's interesting to say that most of these people like Colby probably does have respect for the mat and has respect for his coaches, and he probably calls them coach, which is a modern day word. I mean, master is just teacher, and that's what we use today is coach a lot more. It's a lot more, vernacularly acceptable.
Yeah.
Than be like, my master. It kind of gets awkward.
Weird. My daddy.
A little culty. Yeah, it gets a little culty. But then when you have someone that's into martial arts that's not trying to be a fighter, they're using it as a vehicle to get better in their personal life.
Yeah.
Like if you could actually get serious and train for once, it would probably help you be a better person in your life. I'm
already as good a person as I could be.
Yeah, I think you're the Antichrist. So we can't get, it doesn't even matter. It's like throwing water in the ocean, man. Buckets of water. Doesn't even matter. So anyways, but I think like people now know that it is a show.
Yeah.
And you look at Chael Sonnen, people that hated Chael Sonnen, i.e. all the Brazilians, Anderson Silva.
Now he's hanging out
now he's hanging out with him, watching movies, cuddling, got his face tatted on him. Yeah. And everyone's like, Brazilians now love Chael. And they're like, I love Chael. And he could make a joke about Brazilians and they think it's funny. So I think like one day we'll all look back at Colby and be like, oh yeah, that was funny when you were the
hard heel.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you look at it like, it's like when Chael was on Ultimate Fighter with Vanderlei, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't let you get close. That whole exchange where he took him down.
Yeah.
Like you in the dude do not like you.
Andrew,
What now? What now?
please stop. I can't let you get close.
Can you hear my
And if you listen to it, he calls him an effing amateur. He's like, you amateur, while they're wrestling.
Yeah.
And same with like Conor with Khabib, where he was like, it was just business, right?
Yeah.
How much of that do you think is, obviously Conor's.
Well, that was like me with Julian Lane before we had our stare down on the Ultimate Fighter, and it was like really big. And he's like, whoa! And that had, one of the top views on YouTube for stare downs ever in the history of stare downs. The night before, we're both like cutting weight in the hot tub, and he's like one of those fighters. He's kind of being awkward and, like thinking I'm going to fight him. And I'm very casual. I'm like, either way, we're fighting tomorrow. I don't need to be staring you down and be like, like either way, I'm going to get hyped up and try to break your face. But I was like, hey, we're going to have a really good stare down tomorrow. And he's like, what do you mean? Yeah. I'm like, dude, I'm like, I'm going to get in your face.
Yeah.
And he's like, you get in my face, I'm gonna swing on you. I'm like, no, don't.
Don't swing on me.
I was like, dude, then we won't be able to fight because then you get disqualified. So don't actually hit me, and I'm not gonna actually hit you. And then he was like, you see his wheels turning, like, oh, okay. And then I got in his face, and then I still was like, this motherfucker might hit me. I was keeping my hands down, and I was like, he like went, whoa, and you see the what's the commissioner right there, he flinches big, and I just like held it, and I was like, if he hits you, just take the hit.
Do you think how much of don't you think that the ones that, I mean, you when you're on shows and things, you're very lucid, you're very, I wouldn't call you smart or quick-witted or wise.
You don't want to compliment
I wouldn't call you anything
too
really
much.
of those things.
Yeah, because I'm better than you. That you're like every way in every aspect.
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
but you're with it. Yeah. How many of you do you think those are the special ones? The McGregors, the Colbys, the Masvidals, who can be sharp. Even Ben Askren, he got a lot of big fights because of his mouth.
Yeah.
Even Chael, right? That famous line by Tito. The only person who got work with her mouth was Tito's ex-wife.
Yeah.
First of all, that was never no marriage.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's something because a lot of the guys that I've met, I'm not going to say I wouldn't say they're dumb at all, but it's just fighting is what they do as an escape. You know what I mean? I don't know. Do you think?
Well, it's like
it's
to have a personality and to be a fighter are like two skills that are two separate. And that's really kind of interesting is like there's a very few people that have the ability to talk in front of a camera, talk on the mic, talk shit, be funny, be witty, and then also be serious and fight. Because fighting really is such a hard lifestyle change. And that's what I was saying, people that use it as a vehicle to get better in their personal lives, whatever they do, it's so hard that you constantly are being pushed to that threshold that you learn to not talk shit. Like I'm a lot different, I think, off camera, by myself, when it's just a few people than I am even in a group of people.
Yeah. Would you say here's the thing. It's like for me, I'm able to talk a lot of shit, right?
But you can't fight.
But I could if I got put
No,
in
you can't,
what I'm saying,
bro. You can't fight.
So you're telling me,
you're like this. The other day we were sparring. I
telling me honestly,
been laughing so hard. You're like,
you're telling me honestly, I didn't see the fear in your eyes when I got mad at you. You got scared. But anyway, but serious point.
Don't you think put my hands down? Let you hit me once just so you can
let's say you're in fighting to make money. I mean, that's what everybody's doing it for.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, 1,000 reasons why you get into it. But when you're at the show, you want to make as much money as possible.
Yeah. Like at the end of the day, that should be. I mean, you're not in it to make money because it's too hard of a sport and you'd give up. But you should be getting compensated for what you're doing.
Yeah. So,
because no matter what, whether you're on a local circuit, a big circuit, there's people there paying money to watch it. There's people paying money.
So isn't it tough for you when you see some of these kids that are coming up, even in your gym, that don't have the personality? Don't you feel like that's an extra barrier? The reason you got on the Ultimate Fighter is because you went in there and you had a personality, you talked a little shit, right?
And I beat the shit out of everybody.
And you fought,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But I mean, don't you worry about some of these kids that are just like, I mean, they're like, it's like talking to a board sometimes.
Yeah.
They just don't get it.
No, I am always trying to tell them, like, start doing things that make you able to speak, better. One of my, I was in college and had to take public speaking class, and we had to learn how to speak, and people, judge you on your speaking and stuff like that. And as whatever you go to church or something like that, I'm like, get up and speak and start practicing, teach class in front of people, because it is an important skill.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, who makes the most money is the people that speak the most crap.
Yeah.
that can talk and not even talk crap. Like if you're just an interesting person to talk to, then people are going to want to watch you fight more than if they don't, as a casual, especially.
Yeah, I mean that's the big thing.
And for me, I don't give a crap. I just want to see him fight. Like that's why I love all these like Dagestani guys. They don't even speak English, but they're fun to watch.
That's how this whole conversation started. Is I worry about the future of the UFC, where these Dagestanis are the best fighters, but they're not talking.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And
I think that was a reason why you saw a lot of them pulled out of the PFL. Like they were just doing too good in the PFL, and they weren't able to sell any people watching. So you saw a lot less in the PFL this year.
So tell me some of the best. So melding talking with being a great fighter brings us to a couple guys like Mike Perry. I mean, we were hanging out with Mike Perry, and this is coming up with Bare Knuckle. He's got to be honestly. I watched him on a couple of things that he was doing at that presser, and he's the kind of person where I think we're looking at having him on the Coaching the Casual here in this next week. But one of the things is he's an incredible trash talker, but he's not cringy. You know, he even just responded to Strickland. He's like, "What do you care what these guys are doing?" You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think if anything, he's a very unique person, and he has a very big personality, and he can fight. While Eddie Alvarez, who, wasn't as fun to talk to. I'm sure he's a great dude once you're hanging out with him and stuff, but it's not like Mike Perry, who's got like the class clown kind of personality,
Well, speaking of Eddie Alvarez, I don't want to throw any shade for me, I'm an uneducated bastard, but
in many things.
Yeah, many things. But the way that dude was sweating and even Perry was talking about how hard his nipples were, you had to think that guy was on all kinds of gear because that room was freezing cold.
It was so cold.
That dude was drenched.
And Eddie was sweating, and even Mike Perry called him out. He said, "Hey, you're sweating, your nipples are hard." But did you see Eddie went and got tested? And he put out the
testosterone was low. 333, which you want it to be like at your peak when you're prime and everything is 700 to 800.
Yeah, 700 to 800, and so he's
333.
And it said low on there, so his testosterone's low. Which can be a result, though, of other designer stuff.
Being high.
Yeah, of other things. So you never know. Like
well,
that's
the thing
the
is,
hard thing.
I get TRT. I get testosterone replacement therapy, as you can tell. But it doesn't make me sweat a whole bunch. So him saying, "Well, look how low my T is," it doesn't have anything to do with the sweating stuff. The sweating stuff is like burners and like you were saying, the designer stuff. So would it be your opinion that he's on something?
I mean, he was thick. Like, even look at this picture of him on this just his regular picture. Yeah, click that one.
Yeah, that one.
That looks like a different person than we saw.
The one we saw.
Well, Mike Perry looks the same. Mike Perry's.
When he walked in, I was actually talking to Eddie's boxing coach.
Yeah.
And I think I made him uncomfortable because I was like, man, is it hard for Eddie to make weight when he's so caked up? Because that dude had some ass.
Cake. Yeah, he had ass. Yeah. I was going to start flicking some quarters off of that.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, we'll send him down to the Exotic Kitty afterwards. But I mean, who knows though? And at the end of the day, it's who cares? We don't know.
Well, that's tough. I mean, when you're going in against this is what I've always wondered. Like, is it like, missing weight is a big taboo in if you're lining up with a fighter and he misses weight, you're like, damn it, dude, we signed this contract to do it. Is it the same way you're going up against a guy that pops later? Like, dude, what the hell? We're supposed to be doing this thing together.
Well, I've fought a few dudes that popped, and it pisses me off. Like, I fought Carlos Diego Fiera, fought him that night, blew out my elbow, blew it out, and later on, the test results didn't come back from that, and then he popped later, and I was like, well, I knew it. I dropped you like 3 times in the first round, and you came back, and even my last fight was Ben Saunders, and he's 40 years old, and all of a sudden he has a 6-pack jacked. Looking across him like, dude, this motherfucker. I was like, fuck you, you bitch. And so it pisses you off but I've always been a clean fighter, so it kind of pisses me off. But
did you ever get approached with anything?
Like people trying to give me stuff?
Yeah.
Did
you ever have somebody trying to explain to you, hey, you could do this? Like, how did you learn? Like, when we had Court on no, it wasn't Court, it was Jake on. You were talking about how they're cheating the dehydration test out there and won.
Yeah.
And so how did you learn how people are cheating it?
Oh, like I've said, I've done camps with fighters, and found out they were on TRT, and I just found out how easy it is to get. Like anyone can go get it. They sell creams. If you're not in this country, you literally can just go walk up and say, hey, I want some testosterone. They go, here you go.
Yeah.
And then you start shooting up testosterone. And it's just so easy. And it's such a big difference from somebody. I've always said it's like you could be a Ferrari, try to race against a Honda Civic, but that Honda Civic has a bunch of NOS. Yeah. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's like not the same. So, I mean, it pisses me off, but then there is no way, because USADA was the way to make it all even, and that didn't. So if anything, I mean, I actually was at a point where it was like, it's either going to be more harmful to keep fighting without steroids because I'm getting trashed or hit in the head hard than the steroids are going to do to my body. And I was like, well, I want my dick to work the rest of my life, so I don't want to do steroids.
Have you ever asked a guy how his dick is working?
All the time.
Yeah.
How's yours? All that TRT.
Yeah, it's actually functioning pretty well.
Prove it. Prove it. We'll play a little game.
You know what was interesting to me, though, is talking to Perry, and it's just about the mindset of a fighter. Perry looks way bigger than Eddie. Yeah. And also just seems so much more confident. So I told Perry, I was like, dude, you got it in the bag. He's like, well, we'll see. I don't know. Yeah. Do you think that's a healthy mindset to not be like, oh, I got this guy?
Yeah, you don't ever want to be like, I got it in the bag. And you saw it with GSP versus Matt Serra. Even in his documentary, he said, oh, I had this fight in the bag, trained 10, 11 days or something like that. The greatest upset of all time is only lost. And then he comes back and murders him on the rematch. So I think that mindset is very dangerous. Well, but then there's also the advantage of it where you need a little bit of like, I'm going to go in there and kill this dude.
Well, here's the problem, just as a side note, with that GSP Matt Serra one, a lot of what GSP talked about was that he was fighting Matt Serra like a hero of his. Did you ever, or Jake talked a little bit about it when he stepped into the cage with GSP. He's like, oh man, that's GSP over there. Yeah. Did you ever get starstruck by a guy you were fighting, or anybody you fought at the time hadn't been that big yet?
Yeah, most of the people I fought, the only time I was like starstruck really was more just being in the situation fighting Tony. Yeah. Like my first UFC fight being the main event. That was one of the times where I really felt, starstruck. Like, holy crap, this is wild. And then, I think most of the people I fought, they became bigger names like post me and them fighting.
They just kind of used you as a
platform because I can talk. Yeah. But you know what? Then when I knocked out Darush, they just buried that one. They're like, one of the things let's hide that one. All right, Darush is back, #1 in the world.
One of the things that I need to clarify is that we went to the Jazz game, and you told Deuce that if you were in the NBA, you to the UFC, you would have been an all-star.
Oh, yeah.
Zero chance.
For sure, bro.
How is that possible?
I've beaten...
If you had to say your...
top 10 guys.
Top 10, but they were top 10 later.
Yeah.
Who have you beat top 10 that was currently in the top 10? See? Yeah. You can't listen. What I would say is that I bet you would be G League All Star. Yeah, for sure.
Fuck you, dude. You wouldn't even be able to play.
But yeah, I'd be the coach. I'd be the coach.
No, you wouldn't even be able to go.
Okay, we need to talk about my coaching at Fierce Fighter.
You know what's funny is because the other day we're at Thanksgiving dinner. And our waiter comes up and he's like, "You Ramsey Nijum, huge fan. I just got into the UFC.
Huge fan of the coach and the casual."
He's like, he's like, I've never even seen that shit, dude. He's like, I watched you.
You know Kyle Deaver?
He goes, I watched you on The Ultimate Fighter. And he's like, let me hook you up. So then I'm getting kind of drunk. He kept on bringing me cocktails on the side.
Take you out back and
yeah. Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah. So all I'm saying is that my big problem with you. That I didn't have with Mike Perry is that you can't take anything. You told me that you could play in the NBA right now. That you're a super athlete.
I never said I could play in the NBA.
You said you could put up 6 points a game. Yes or no?
In the NBA?
Yeah, right now.
I never said that.
You said you were best friends with that
Italian. You put me on the soccer field. Now that's different.
So all I'm saying is that if you said that you could beat me and Deuce up one on two.
Bro, honestly, I would beat the shit out of you.
So that's what I'm saying is that you have to have some amount of realism.
So easy.
Look,
I'll do it anytime. I literally was willing to pull the car over and do it.
Yeah, because you were drunk.
And you both were like, well, I don't want.
didn't want to whoop your ass.
literally, one of my fighters lives near there with a cage in his
Yeah, you wanted to go
backyard.
fight in his
And I was like, let's go
cage.
fight in his cage right
You
now.
called this guy and you're like, hey, can we come fight in your cage? He's like, well, you might get tetanus.
Yeah.
You're
I
like,
said,
"Oh,
I
that's
don't care.
okay."
I won't be the one getting taken down. I'll fight you both in a fucking
Yes, that's what I'm saying. There
in
has to
a
be some-
bathroom stall.
But Mike
I would
Perry-
hit one of you, and then you would go down and cry. But then when you ask me about Mike Perry, what's the real choice?
But hold on. But when I asked
when you
Mike
talk
Perry,
to me-
when I asked Mike Perry, I said, "Me and you, what would happen?" He goes, "You're kind of a big guy. I think I got you though."
Yeah.
But at least he gave me like the something.
That's because you were buying dinner. He was like, "Oh shit, all right, we gotta make sure." He saw the bill. He's like, "Fuck." Kyle's like, yeah, you're big." And then after he bought the dinner, he's like, "Yeah, fuck you, bitch," and walked away.
Okay. What's your? Well, we'll get into predictions here. Let's talk about the difference between Duffy and
Ben?
Big Ben. The size difference
Is
was
incredible.
gross.
It's not even, it's
it
not
was
even
gross.
close. I mean, Todd is a 205 pounder.
Okay, so he's
And
coming
Ben
up.
is a heavyweight
Ben is
that cuts
cutting to-
weight.
cutting to heavyweight.
So he's an super heavyweight, basically.
They even have him marked as 205, so he's fighting up a weight class, huh?
And Rothwell's really fighting down a weight class. He's a really
Super heavyweight.
Super heavyweight. So I think Rothwell's going to murder him. I think the odds are not even out really on that one, but the only odds I know are Mike Perry's plus 300 and then Eddie's negative 240.
Why in the world would Todd Duffy agree to this? This sounds horrible.
I mean, he's probably getting a fat check.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know, dude.
I don't know if it's fat enough.
How much would they have to pay you to fight Rothwell? Would it have to be flat rate or
Flat rate.
no show and win?
Flat rate, and I would fucking quit early. No way, he's so big. I would go to his body early, and I think after you eat one, like if he hit me once, I'd just quit.
It'd be like, did you ever see 300?
Yeah.
The big guy with the saws for arms.
Yeah.
You'd have to be fighting that guy.
Game of Thrones, you know, the little
mountain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the mountain. It'd be like literally, but a mountain that can fight. Yeah. How much do they have to pay you? Look how hairy he is.
Well, even
he's like literally hairy as shit.
Pictures do him no justice. I was standing next to him. I was like, "Geez, Louise, this
Yeah.
guy's a monster."
And then he like kind of talks crap, and it's kind of awkward, and everyone just nervously laughs because he's
Yeah.
so big.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, funny joke there.
Give the big
Don't
guy
eat me.
Give the big guy some peanuts. It's like
Yeah.
feeding an elephant.
Then they put on this the Farrah Rawlings fight. That's gonna be a bloody mess, I think, for sure.
Well, what do you think about Stevens getting that added on the last minute? Stevens,
I don't know, man. I don't know about
Down below that, Diego.
yeah, who Stevens is actually really fighting, that Riviera
That one.
guy.
To the right.
You know, and it brings me to I want to bring it back to this point all the way to the PFL Bellator merger and everyone that talks about competing with the UFC. The UFC makes stars. Where is everyone else's stars coming from?
Yeah, name value comes from the UFC.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, the UFC is just gonna. I don't think they need a star to make a star. They could just be like, this guy's a star, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, yeah, he's a star, you know, and everyone falls in love. Like Alex Pereira is one of the biggest stars. Doesn't speak a lick of English. He just goes,
Yeah.
Shaman, and everyone's like, yeah, I love that guy.
And just how that stare down with
Him and Yuri, yeah.
right,
And that's what I'm saying. Like, Yuri's not like a star value, but he's got that samurai kind of thing. But the UFC is the one that made him who he is. So no matter who they go fight, even Alex Pereira, for example, was a world champ kickboxer. No one really, we just knew he was a world champ kickboxer, but no one really watched him fight. Same with Izzy.
Yeah,
Until they
was
fought in the
He was
UFC.
the Izzy killer, and the whole storyline, and him getting to beat Izzy was crazy. It was like back in the day, the Gracie killer. What?
Yeah.
It was Sakuraba.
Sakuraba, the Gracie killer. Yeah, exactly. Oh, there we
Hey.
go. I think, didn't I just send you that on Instagram, that
No,
video?
but I've always known that he was. But it's like that's the only thing that worries me is that these new guys aren't really talking as much. But they're always
But I
going to
think
have.
the
They're going to
stars
build a
are there.
legend.
Yeah.
They're going to build a legend, and then they're going to have somebody who goes and beats them, which makes them like. Alex's intro was he was the Adesanya killer who
Yeah.
nobody could get Adesanya. So now the next guy is going to be whoever can beat Alex. You know, what I
John
mean?
Jones
Yeah.
doesn't like. I mean, he does talk shit like the DC, but that was all of his shit talking was found out like post famous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
When he was like this
yeah,
nice
and he
guy.
couldn't hide it anymore. You know, he was
trying to hide that he was an animal.
yeah, but before he was trying to be
I
the
swear if I could come over.
Yeah.
You still over there, pussy?
yeah, he's still over there, pussy. I actually like that John Jones a lot more, but he was a star because he killed all the stars. He killed, you know, all the former champs that were from Pride that made John Jones, and then him shit talking made him into this bad guy. But I mean, John Jones is a thing of his own.
You know, my business partner, he's not into MMA at all, and he was like kind of looking over our podcast. He's like, "Oh, bro, you should get this guy," and he sent me a video of John Jones. I was like, "Oh yeah, for sure."
Yeah.
It'd be like getting Tom Brady.
Yeah. Hey, you should get Tom Brady for your football.
You should get Tom Brady for your local football podcast.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
LeBron James, just get him in.
Come on in, bro.
Yeah. It's that easy.
I'll have my people call his people.
Yeah, I'll have my people call. Yeah, we'll get him in, you know, eventually.
Dude, but
one day.
But what is interesting to me is how, you know, it's like they have this fame, but UFC stars have to be some of the most accessible stars in the world.
Oh, yeah. And that's what I think makes them more famous.
You could send a DM to LeBron, you'll never get found. You could send it to Tom Brady, never get read. But they got interactions all the time of UFC stars being like, "Oh, F you."
Yeah. You could literally pay to go be on a fan thing, you know, a few $100 and go meet whoever your favorite star is.
Yeah.
And so they're really accessible. And that's what's kind of hard, I think, about being the shit talkers. You got to make a decision. Am I going to be that person in my real life? Because it's not, hey, let's go meet John Cena, who his real name is, I don't know, something. I'm sure.
I didn't know. I think his name is John Cena.
No, I'm sure his real name's something else. Or like
Look
Rey
it up first,
Mysterio. I remember that guy from the...
He's actually been going to a lot of the fights lately.
Oh, yeah.
Rey Mysterio.
But like before,
Guy Fieri.
if you saw him in the crowd, you wouldn't know who he was. And
well, he goes with his mask on.
but if Guy Fieri, who's not he's an famous person, but he's a famous person by himself.
His name is John Cena.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, that's
but like Guy Fieri, like if he was an asshole, everyone would be like, "Fuck you, Guy, you're an asshole."
Yeah.
But if he was an actor playing an asshole, we'd be like, "I love your acting. It's so good." And just like what's his name? The chef Ramsey, that everyone was like, I hate
Ramsay,
this. Yeah, Gordon Ramsay. Everyone hated him because he was the bad guy, but really he's a really nice guy in real life, and he was playing this character that became who he was. And
that's why I play this character of somebody who can't fight, so that we can.
can't fight. And it's not a character. You're just a fucking asshole, just all the way through and through. Like,
No, the thing is, it's all a character. I'm actually super. You know, I'm a great fighder. I've actually been training for years.
You're like the Grinch, dude. Yeah, your heart's 3 times too small. I think it's. I mean, look, Diego's laughing because he knows that. Feel bad for anyone that's working for your Grinch ass. Making him work on Thanksgiving. Look at us. We're on Thanksgiving break, and he's making us all work.
Well, I have to be somewhere tomorrow.
Yeah, because the boss has shit to do.
Okay, let's talk bare knuckle then. Do you know these chicks at all? I don't know.
Yeah, Rawlings just is like a dog. They're both just dogs in this sport. Like,
Okay, so
both
if
fought a
it's
few times.
only bare knuckle, how would I do against either of them?
They would fuck you up.
No, dude.
They would. And the fair is the champ. Becca Rawlings is the one that like beat that one girl that was like her face was all messed up and she's like, I had a really good time or something like that.
I remember that.
So that, I mean, but that Farrah girl is probably gonna murder her. She is not.
Damn, she's had 8 fights in bare knuckle.
Yeah, she's 7-1, and that's a lot of fights. A couple locals. Let's go down. This is kind of interesting.
Go all the way down to local.
Because we are fighting in the great city of Salt Lake. We got Ben Moa up a little bit.
What is it? Why I've heard his
Called
name
Ben
a lot.
Moa.
Why is Ben Moa so important for
He
you?
played for the Utes, was an amazing football player, fought for Fierce, was I think their champ at one point, but he's like the biggest draw in the state of Utah as far as local fighters.
He fought UFC or no?
I don't think so. No, I think he was a heavyweight and he just fought. He was a bunch of local fights. Maybe he fought like maybe on some random cards, but I think they're giving him a fight to.
That guy next to him looks like he just got out of bed. Yeah, that guy does not look. That guy looks like.
I'm glad. Let's go, Ben Moa, Utah, Salt Lake City.
I think that's good.
So I think he's gonna smash him and knock out.
Both 205, big boys.
Yeah, 205. And Ben Moa is a really good athlete. I mean, he's a little bit older. He was retired, and so he came out of retirement for this. So that's always a who knows, you know. And then scroll down, and the next local is Mike Jones. Mike, who?
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 Mike Jones.
Mike Jones.
281-330.
And this is his first bare knuckle. I mean, he's an explosive dude. The guy he's fighting is 1-2. Winnable fight for Mike Jones, and I think they want local guys to win. So this is a good fight.
But how many guys do you think it's gonna be? It's gonna be just a one-off because it can't be enjoyable at all. I mean, even a regular fight's not enjoyable.
You heard
but bare
I'm in.
knuckle-
He was like, "That seems interesting." He's like, "As long as I can get my medical bills covered, I'm in."
Ugh.
Yeah. So I mean, these people are psychos, bro. We're all a little bit. There's a couple screws missing. Mike Jones is excited about it. These guys are
It just
excited.
seems so like I'd be like, I'm doing this for the money, but I'm not.
Me too,
I'm not
bro.
having a good time.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's not
Me
fun.
too. You know, it's interesting since I've been like retired and honestly doing this podcast and talking about it and kind of looking at all of it third person and
Yeah.
been out of the game. I don't really.
It's not fun.
I only spar like nerds like you, so it's not like I get hit. And I'm like, what the hell was that, dude? LJ Schultz, he's a local guy. I don't know who he's fighting to. They fought some other, some dude named Hilton. Looks all tatted up, so that'd be kind of fun maybe to watch. He's out of Jeremy Horn's gym. And then one of the last locals, all these other ones, is Trevor Bradshaw versus Dennison.
I met that guy, Trevor Bradshaw. He's
Yeah.
a nice guy.
Dom fought him in LFA.
He's been doing or MMA for a long time. He's got cauliflower ears pretty good.
Yeah, and Dennison's been fighting a long time MMA too. So these are like
What does that say on Dennison's chest there? If you had to take a guess.
Freedom,
Freedom?
I think.
No, that's not freedom. We'll have to figure out what
Freedom.
it's. No,
No.
because that would be three.
It's backwards because of the thing.
Maybe it's Elvish.
Yeah, I mean, and those are just like two local journeymen. I think they put on to kind of give
Have
like
somebody on the card.
yeah, some local guys. I mean, I'm excited. This is going to be my first BKFC, and everyone says it's something you have to see live, which I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
I'm not really excited.
Are you bringing your wife?
No, it's
No?
just gonna be because we're all gonna be backstage.
Yeah.
So that's the day of a couple of parties too. But yeah, dude, I don't know. Like for Duffy, this is gonna be like fighting twice. I think it's gonna be his first and his last fight.
Yeah.
There's no chance after he takes a mauling
Yeah,
from Brothel,
dude.
he's like, oh hey, let's do that again. That was fun.
I mean, I'm kind of excited to see what happens with like BKFC. Do you think we'll have them next year? Like another.
Well, they said they're gonna come back. They tried to get Delta, but it was booked out. So
Ooh, so they're gonna go for Delta next time?
yeah,
They build stars, but like I said, they'll look at the main two stars. Where do you know Eddie Alvarez from?
yeah,
Where do you know him?
UFC. And
You don't
fighting
even
Conor.
know him from the underground.
Yeah, only fighting Connor.
Yeah, only fighting Connor.
That's how he kind of like blew up.
Oh man, that's wild.
And he fought him at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, he did blow, and then Connor pieced him up. Same with Mike Perry.
Yeah, but the only reason I even know the name of what's his name, Jeremy Stevens, is who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah, and then Jeremy Stevens is who the fuck is that guy? Well, and it's kind of interesting because like we were talking about like talking shit to build fights.
Yeah.
And Connor is one of the best at it.
And he's made so many stars.
Yeah, like he
You
made
think
Jeremy
Connor?
Stevens.
There's no way that Connor would ever come do bare knuckle. There's no way they could ever pay him enough to do that.
He
Too
said
small.
he's interested.
Too small of an organization.
You think so?
The thing is, Connor to fight Khabib, I think it showed he got paid like $8 million.
Yeah.
$8 million to fight one of the greatest
Yeah,
grapplers
but
of all
Connor
time.
can fight anywhere.
Yeah, but who wants to get a punch in the face for $1 million?
He was talking about
He's
it.
gotta-
he was
but-
front row coaching Eddie.
Hyping, I'm sure.
Hype. Yeah, he's probably just getting. Well, I mean, he is an attention whore, so he is.
Yeah, there's no way he's
Wherever he
getting in
can
there
get
for
in.
less than $8 million, and bare knuckle's not coming up with $8 million right now.
Yeah, I don't think they'll come up with the money. But then maybe if they said you get all the pay-per-view dollars, every
Watch
penny.
Connor fight bare knuckle.
Yeah, like here you get every $5 pay-per-view. You would sell.
Is it $5?
It's like $6-7 for
Oh,
the.
geez,
yeah,
that's
that's
cheap.
what it's cheap. Like everyone can have it. I mean, I have the app and I don't even remember I have it. It just
Yeah.
charges every month, and sometimes that's what you need. Those micro purchases are really the,
Where they
like-
get paid.
Yeah.
Let's, we're getting closer. Let's make some predictions on everything. Let's make some bets, and we'll just call everything even.
I mean,
odds.
though, let's get into this a little though with Mike Perry and the whole Ian Gary situation.
Yeah.
So Ian Gary is going vegan because of his nutritionist, who's his current wife's ex-husband that lives with him.
Current wife's ex-husband
And
that lives with him.
That lives with him.
And he's getting told to only eat veggies.
Only eat veggies, you know. As someone that's tried veganism and vegetarian, it helped me lose weight. But it was I a weak little bitch. I felt the power just go away.
But the only person I've met that, Jake is strong.
Jake is strong, but he grew up being a vegan his whole life. He's never had meat. So and then his mom's milk had only grass in it or whatever the fuck he eats.
What are you talking about? His mom's breast milk?
Yeah. His mom's breast milk probably didn't have meat.
What's the matter with you?
We're like my mom's breast milk. She's probably eating steak. So
yeah,
like,
I can confirm that.
Yeah,
You wanna continue.
I'm older than you, bitch. And the only one, I remember your mom having quite a good time with me. Older women have a weakness for this chocolate.
It actually, at that point, by the time you got to my mom, it was powdered milk.
Yeah.
Dehydrated milk.
And, that's the best, bro. It doesn't give me gas.
Just add water.
Yeah, I don't want to just
Lactate.
you just add a little moisture and you're good to go. But so Mike Perry, Sean Strickland calls out Ian Gary, which it's kind of funny, but none of Sean Strickland's business.
Yeah.
And Mike Perry's like, dude, don't call people out.
Mike Perry, honestly, he was actually pretty philosophical. When we were at dinner,
Yeah.
he was a philosophical dude.
And I actually was like on this, gonna talk shit. Then I watched Mike Perry's video about it, and I was like, Mike Perry's true, man.
Yeah,
Like, don't
point.
judge. Yeah, like if they're happy, they're happy, and if it's working, he's winning. He's one of those welterweights I was talking about earlier. That's a monster.
Well, you had an experience with cucks and bulls before, didn't you?
Oh yeah. On the Ultimate Fighter, that video that is huge is me fighting with Gilbert Smith. Yeah. Well, it was funny because he brought it up, and I knew nothing about it. He's like, "Yeah, I'm a bull." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Like I thought it was like a spirit animal thing. Yeah. I was like, "What do you mean it's a bull?" And he was like, like a bull, like I'm like a therapist for people. And I'm like, "Oh, and everyone else is laughing. They all knew." And I was like, and then someone like James Krause leads in, he's like, breaks it down. What
bangs other dudes' wives.
Yeah, he's like bangs other dudes' wives while the dudes watch. I was like, what? And I've never heard of that. And I was on the show, and then Gilbert was just me and him always got into it. He was just so annoying, and he got into it with everybody. Yeah. Like I would get a massage, and he would sit there outside the massage room with a ball and just bounce it off the wall. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm just bouncing my ball. Yeah. And like, you are annoying as shit. And so then we were having a big meeting with all the UFC executives, and they're teaching us about choose your character kind of stuff and talking about marketing and all that. And they're like, and Forrest Griffin was talking at this point, and he's like, you got to have, as Forrest Griffin, I was the nice guy next door, but everyone has different things. Heels get paid the most, really, at the end of the day. And I was like, and he's like, find something unique about you. And I raised my hand in front of everyone at the UFC. They're like, so kind of like how Gilbert is a bull. Yeah. And that should be something he should, really push that's unique. And everyone's like, yeah. What is that? And I was like, oh, I'll let Gilbert explain. And they're all like, yeah, please go into detail for us. Like, yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Please explain. And he's like, yeah. So basically, other people that have marital sex issues hired me to come in and
bang the what?
No. Kind of like help them progress in their sex. Yeah. Kind of like a sex therapy. And then Forrest Griffin's like, and then someone's like, he bangs people's wives. and then Forrest Griffin's like, yeah, do not share that part. And then so later on, he was all like pissed off about it and then mad. And then he got in my face and he was like talking shit. And I was like, bro, if you try to fight me, I will fuck you up. I literally will fuck you up.
But
you don't intimidate me.
You don't want to step to me, homeboy.
Or else what?
Oh, what?
Or else what?
Oh, what?
Or else what?
Man, you wasting my time. Wasting my time.
Okay.
He knows I would get kicked off the show if I hit him, but trying to talk shit like he's a threat, what is he gonna do, dry hump me?
To his credit, though, you did later find out that he had a huge wiener, huh?
he tried showing us pictures. I'm like, bro, I don't want to see it, dude. Like, he was like, at dinner, we were at the dinner with like Dana White. We're at this fancy dinner. He's like, hey, have you seen this? And it was a picture of his cock. I was like, fuck you, bitch.
It's like a baby arm holding a plum.
Dude, it was like literally that video.
Like that black guy.
I was like, oh my God. Like I'm eating like a fancy steak dinner. I was like, oh, bro, get that out of here. So then, and that's his lifestyle. So and honestly, looking back, I shouldn't have judged him so much. I was just mad he was judging me because I like to smoke weed and he was talking crap about that. So I was like,
I could never do any of that because I'm perfectly okay just disappointing one woman in my life.
Yeah.
I couldn't disappoint multiple women. So.
well, you would be the cuck.
Oh yeah, I'd be watching.
Yeah. You're the rich fucking dude. Of course, if anything,
Oh, dude, one thing I want to
you
tell
need a bull to come in and bang your wife.
Yeah, okay, no, we're not talking about that.
Oh, you don't want to get into that story? My bad.
Yeah, no. One thing, I don't know if we're allowed to get into it because he's a friend of the show. But should we? And we can cut this out if we don't want to talk about it. But what about Jake and that one guy? Should we just not talk about that guy? That we gave that purple belt to? That is a fake purple belt.
Bro, I want to get it. Do you think we should get into this?
Well, the guy will never listen to it.
Yeah.
Jake's got that one guy out in Chicago.
Bro, who is this guy? This Derek guy, Derek Moneybag.
Moneyberg.
What? And then everybody, Moneyberg. And all these fighters go out there.
Yeah, he was with Chael.
Yeah, he pays them all. And they're like, yeah, I'll take 10 G's.
But I watched a video of Jake saying it's very hard to get a purple belt, and this is the fastest. He said, "If you know me, I'm very tough on giving up."
He is.
Giving up.
I'm very tough too. I don't give out belts at all.
And he said, "This is the fastest I've ever given it to someone." He gives it to me. I'm like, "Oh, dude, that's big. This guy's a big fat guy."
I was pissed, Jake. I was mad. I'm still mad about it.
Devalues your black belt.
Yeah. I don't know who the fuck this Moneyberg nerd is. Yeah. Hey, maybe we bring him on our show. And
I'll spar with it. I'll roll with him, and if I beat him, I get to take away his purple belt.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Challenge him. Let's challenge.
Let's dojo
That's
storm.
out. We're gonna dojo storm this Moneyberg.
Derek Moneyberg.
Yeah. My casual fan versus Jake's casual.
My rich guy versus your rich guy.
Rich guy versus. Bro, I think you fuck him up,
Yeah, I'll
bro.
beat his ass.
Yeah, and I was watching him roll the other day with Jake, and I was like, he is not a purple belt.
Yeah.
Jake.
Yeah, that video,
man.
come on, Jake. Pull it
Yeah,
together.
if anything, I'm dojo storming that guy.
Okay, let's take some bets here, and then let's wrap it. Let's just call everything even money. I'll take Perry.
No way. No way, dude. I mean, I'll take Eddie on the plus 350, right? Was that what it was?
Okay, so I will bet plus 240. 240.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. So I'll take Perry. I'll bet $240. You bet $100. So if Perry wins, I get $100. If Eddie wins, you get $240.
Deal. I'll take that one.
Okay, easy.
That's
I'm
an
gonna
easy
tell
one.
Perry about that bet when he's on the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll also put $100 on Rothwell.
Bro, that is not even. No way. If we're doing even, I'll take Rothwell on that one.
Even, and you'll take Rothwell? Get out of
yeah.
here. I'm not taking even on Duffy.
I'll do
Duffy's
2-1 Rothwell.
3-1. Duffy's gonna get murdered.
Same odds as we do the Alvarez fight.
Okay, that was 240. Okay, I'll take. Okay, we're just exchanging money at this point. Duffy's going to get murdered. Jeez. And then I don't know any of the other ones. Jeremy
I don't really know
Stevens.
any of the other ones either. Let's just bet on those two.
Okay, so I got Perry.
And then, hey, maybe the night we'll start. Well, no, because we'll be there all night. Let's do it. Let's do the Farah. I mean, dude, how could you not bet on Farah on that one?
I'll take Rawlings. She looks good.
You take Rollins?
Yeah.
Even?
Is it even? 7-1. No, I'll take it 2-1.
2-1. All right, that's
2-1.
good.
100.
Okay.
So I'm betting 100. If I win, I get 200. If you win, you get 100.
Deal. Boom.
Bet. Okay, and then Jeremy. I don't know. What do you think about Ben Moa? You have to go all locals.
Yeah. I don't want to bet against the locals, man.
Okay, all right. Let's just keep those.
That's just
those
bad
fights and we'll-
juju. You know, I always want them to win. I like betting on the main.
I don't want these guys to find me in real life and hurt me.
because they know where you are. They actually know where you are.
Okay, all right. Well, we got a few interview guys. This next week we got a few interviews coming up. A couple of the higher up brass at Bare Knuckle. We are hoping to have on Mike Perry, maybe a couple of the other fighters. We were talking about having Jeremy Stevens on, a few guys. We were also talking about having on what's his name? The guy who gives the bare knuckle seminars, who runs a lot of the.
Oh, Chris Lytle.
Chris Lytle. So should be an exciting couple of weeks. In a couple of weeks, also we're going down to UFC 296, December 16th. We're gonna have a few of the fighters on.
Leon Edwards, Colby
Covington, Tony, who's been trained by David Goggins now. So
yeah, bro, I'm
good.
excited to get
This is
that,
Patty.
dude.
But guys, we got some exciting stuff coming up on Coaching the Casual. We appreciate you guys being along for the ride, and let's go get it. Thanks for tuning into the Coaching the Casual. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and share it with your friends. Thanks again.